when marketers want to become more strategic, learn how to build a strategy, get respect from leadership, they tend to start with trying to do more. They're trying to learn more things, learn more skills, feeling like if they can only do more, achieve more, then suddenly everything's going to click into place. But actually, what it takes to become a strategic marketer is learning what to throw away, what to leave behind, and figuring out what are the mind strategy techniques that I need to be taken seriously. Because it's all very well and good, and I can completely show you how to build a simple marketing strategy that you can execute, one that's practical, one that you're excited to deliver because it's realistic. It's all well and good building a strategy and having a plan and knowing what resources to put where and how you're going to use your time. But it's a whole other thing getting the company to back you on that. And this is the stumbling block that I feel marketers fall into more often than not. And that's because they don't believe necessarily that mindset work is as important as learning those other skills. And what I noticed, the reason this podcast exists, the reason I built B2B Breakthrough Academy, my strategy course, the reason I am doing all of this is because I saw a huge gap in the market. And I thought, if I was still a marketing manager in a big company, or at the time when I was doing those things back in around 2015, the only marketing education I could find led me to feel like I was failing, like I should be doing more. And I decided to fill that gap because all of the advice out there was literally like, here's how to get leads, here's how to do this, here's how to, I don't know if I'm explaining it very well, but here is how to do the thing. Does that make sense? Click here, press there, try this. And no one was actually talking about the mindset stuff. I always remember if you're standing outside a boardroom and you're about to go in and you know you're going to pitch a big project and you know you're going to get pushback, and you just get that wave of, I can't do this. I don't know anything about marketing. What the hell was I thinking? And your sense of self just vanishes. I was like, I love all that stuff and I want to help people with how I overcame all that. But is that fluffy? In a way, what I did when I built the academy was I brought all of it together. And I really want to pitch something to you and say, let's stop calling it mindset work because it sounds so fluffy. Let's call it mind strategy. Okay, so we need to learn to build a marketing strategy and we need to work on our mind strategy, because it's all very well and good having this beautiful strategy, but if no one buys into it, you're not going to be able to activate it. I could go on about this forever. I first want to make a quick announcement before I'm going to dive into our guest, because we've got a guest today. I never usually do guests, but you're going to love this one. I am running a live class on the 26th of March. I really want you to be there. If you have not already joined, the topic is how to become a truly strategic marketer. I am literally already preparing for this masterclass. I have been working on it for a while. I want this to be so valuable to you. I want it to be the day one of your transformation from potentially frazzled and overwhelmed, like I used to feel when I was a marketing manager spinning too many plates. And I'm going to show you the path and the framework toward becoming a confident, practical, I've got this marketer who has a strategy in place, who can pitch it to leaders, who has got buy-in. I want to show you that process, and I'm going to give you some amazing takeaways on the day. It's completely free to join. So just head to the link in the show notes or head to b2bj.com/links, might be the easiest way to find it. And you can just save your seat. And don't forget that our next cohort of B2B Breakthrough Academy is actually, the doors are going to open in April. The doors have been shut for quite some time while I refocus, while I get back to all this great content for you. Without further ado, I will introduce our guest. We've got Lauren Hill. When I met her, Lauren was the marketing manager at a financial services company called Thomas Carroll Group. When I first met her, I just thought she was so awesome. She decided to enroll in my marketing strategy program, B2B Breakthrough Academy. And so what's really cool is we're going to talk to her about where she was in 2023 when she was a marketing manager, when she had a few years experience, but was struggling with how to put together a coherent plan that could make sense to her, that she was excited to deliver, that she had the budget for, how she could potentially get more budget from the company she was in, restructure the team, all the things that she was like, I need to do something here. We're going to talk to her about where she was. And I think you're going to resonate really strongly with how Lauren explains that experience. And then after that, we're going to look at what she did to become a more strategic marketer today in 2026. She's got there. I want you to hear the steps, the difficulties, the pitfalls, the, oh my gosh, this is never going to work, and how she eventually arrived at calling herself a strategic marketer. Lauren has now gone on to set up. And Lauren is now a full-blown entrepreneur. She's now the Chief Executive Officer of Marketing Collab. And it's a business where she is literally teaching other businesses how to make sure they don't fall into the trap of expecting the results of 5 marketers from 1 marketer, and helping them put plans in place. Hi, Lauren. I've just been bigging you up to everybody who's listening. So thank you so much for being here. I'm going to take you back because you were my first cohort of the Academy. Let's just paint a picture, because everyone listening wants to know your transformation, which has been huge. Where I
Yeah.
want to start with is like, where were you before we started working together? What was going on for you? What did your day to day look like? How did you feel? And what led you to think like something has to change?
Yeah, I would say somebody personally, I've always kind of suffered with my confidence. And I feel like marketing as an industry is really common for so many marketers to suffer with imposter syndrome.
Mm.
And I feel like as an industry, there's lots of people telling you different snippets of information, and it can be quite overwhelming. You're not quite sure what information it is that you should be taking on board and the information you should be ignoring. So I felt I was comparing myself a lot to so many marketers. And when I say so many marketers, I would say marketers online. I didn't know many marketers in person. I was only working in marketing for around 3.5 years because when I started my career, I was working in sales. I didn't have that much experience under my belt, but it was very easy for me to have that massive imposter syndrome and start comparing myself to so many of these marketers who, again, have established careers on the back of 10 to 15 years of working within that industry. I was in, I would say, quite a vulnerable place. I felt like I wasn't really doing what I should be doing as a marketer because again, all of the information that I was consuming online could sometimes be quite mixed. I was in a place where I felt quite lonely and quite isolated.
And everyone out there, I find the content's quite boasty. No one's like, oh, I really struggled today. My campaign didn't work out. They're like, here's how I tripled our annual recurring
Yeah.
revenue. And you're like, I don't even know what annual recurring revenue means. And they've tripled it. And like, oh my God, I'm so behind.
100%, 100%. And I'd be like, oh, the best campaigns of the week. And it would be like Road Cosmetics or Skins. And I'd be like, right, okay, I work in financial services in Wales and I don't have a marketing budget to be able to run these amazing campaigns. I'm selling a service, which is harder naturally than if you're having something tangible to sell. There was a lot of information and I didn't really know what to do with it. And when it came to the word strategy, it always frightened me because I didn't really know what that word meant. And whenever I would watch a video on marketing strategies, it would overwhelm me and I wouldn't really know where to start. And that's me being completely transparent.
That I'm so glad you said that, because that is my biggest bugbear. Strategies can be simple and strategies can be very complicated. And in big, huge global corporates, they have to be incredibly complex and complicated because the business will not function without this huge web. But they have the people to resource that and keep it going. A
Yeah.
strategy can be simple in terms of its minimalist approach, only doing a few things, doing them really well. And when we've got limited resources, I know that in the company you were in, you did have a budget, you did have some resource. But when we're looking at those bigger brands going, I should be doing that. And when our leaders are going, why aren't we doing those cool things that these companies are doing out? Not seeing that what goes on behind the scenes for something so huge. If you can cast your mind back, what were the day-to-day challenges that maybe with interacting with other people? What did your day-to-day job look like as a result of this difficulty?
It could be really challenging. There's people stuck in their old mindset and their old way of doing things, and it can be really hard to change things up. Nobody really likes change because obviously it's something additional we have to learn how to do. And when we're learning new things, it takes time, and organizations don't like wasting time on new things. I would say when you're coming up with a creative idea and you're saying, I don't really think that's the route we should go down because our audience is shifting. Yes, that may have worked 30 years ago. But in terms of audience behaviors now, they're changing. The channels they're on, they're hopping around, they're lurking around. There's nothing, I would say, in terms of when it came to return of investment, that's a stereotypical thing that most marketers, it's a known joke for us marketers, is what's the ROI? And it's becoming even more challenging for us to determine ROI. But when it came to shifting that mindset within that organization, it can be hard because it's not as glamorous as sales. Shifting that mindset of marketing isn't something you just switch on and off. It's a constant. It's like your HR department. It's like your finance department. Without finance and people understanding the numbers, then how do you know areas of where you need to invest and how you grow and paying people salary? You don't just turn it off when, oh, we don't need finance this month.
Yeah.
But marketing is a consistent, always on department. And when organizations get into that mindset of, okay, this is an always on function, we need to invest this function, I think that's where the mindset shifts. Going back to your question, the challenge I was facing was getting people to understand the true value of marketing and how it is not just a department that supports sales.
Yes.
It
And
is more
that
than
happens
that.
in the more traditional companies, doesn't it? And did you find,
Absolutely.
I had an email this morning like, oh, I've been asked to get some quick wins.
Mm.
How do I do that? Did you deal with that type of thing where you're just trying to build a campaign, but they're like, well, where's the results? When are we getting them?
Yeah, I would say so. And they would be, oh, we need a flyer for this, or very reactive, which is fine. There is elements of marketing that does have to be reactive. We have to accommodate that. But we need to be strategic in what it is that we're reacting to. And without that strategy piece, it's very difficult for me to push back because there was no plan in place. There was nothing that had been agreed and signed up. I was stuck on that task wheel that you always talk about because what else could I do? I had no plan in place to be able, to move things in the right direction at that point. So
That is going to ring true to so many people listening because all of the marketing advice is out there, push back, tell them it's not strategic. And then they go, yeah, so what are we doing then? Mind blank, brain's gone dead, no
yeah,
idea. Okay, we'll just do what you said. Yeah, okay. The imposter syndrome grows then. And sometimes it's not even imposter syndrome, it's telling you there's a gap. I say this
yeah,
to people all the time.
absolutely.
Sometimes imposter syndrome is not imposter syndrome.
No.
Imposter syndrome is what I get when I'm doing something that I've done for years and years and years and years and years, have proven time and time again I'm good at it. And then I think, oh, am I good at this? When you've
Mm,
never done something before and you're really struggling, that's not imposter syndrome. That's just, I haven't done this before and I'm going to own it. And I think that actually is quite freeing
mm,
because you shouldn't be asked to do something you've never done before. And I think I love how you phrase that because that is something I'm saying to everybody is give yourself a break, have a deep breath.
yeah,
What I love about that little segment is you're so far removed from Lauren of 2023 that you actually find it quite hard to talk about the problems without knowing completely the answers. You're talking about all the things you've learned now. So we're going to talk about the shift
yeah.
now. At what point in your career journey did it start to click that? Because I always say strategy is simply how do we get from where we are now to where we need to be? What will we do? What are
Yeah.
the big gaps? How will we fill them? Was there like a moment where you were like, oh, okay, this is strategy?
Yeah, I would say so because I would attend certain commercial team meetings and board meetings, and there's a lot of tactical talk of, right, we need to get 30 new clients and we need to generate this type of revenue, and this is the type of profit that we want to achieve after 12 months. And in my head, I was like, but how are they going to do that? How do I contribute to that? What does that look like in terms of that journey? Not just from the customer's perspective, but from the business perspectives as well. What does that journey look like? And when I started thinking like that, that's when I was like, right, okay, this is more strategic thinking because it's not just being reactive. I could have been in those meetings, be like, okay, we'll send 100 letters to all these people, and then we're going to literally jump on calls. We're going to ring them all constantly. Where that would have been the old mindset of previous days in marketing, and what our role and responsibility was deemed. That's what we did. Where in my mindset, I was like, right, okay, we need to think about these. What does budget allocation look like? in terms of resource? Where's the experience gaps too? And you start like thinking about it, and that's when definitely the penny dropped. For me, that's how it looked.
I love that. And I
Yeah.
remember our first live call ever when there was, I think there was 40 or 50 of us all together when
Yeah.
you joined B2B Breakthrough Academy. Because I think that's what a lot of the people who join the program, that's where they need to get to. And that's the goal of this live class I'm running on the 26th of March. So for anyone watching, there's a link in the show notes for you to save your seat. It's like, okay, first part of the journey is acceptance that I have some gaps. I'm
Mm-hmm.
starting to understand what strategic means, because that's what you said. I was like, hang on, this is not just about throwing together a campaign plan. And sometimes people think a marketing strategy is literally an Excel with when you're going to do stuff. And that's what I did for years as well. There's no judgment.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, let's help you on this in this live class to go, what actually is strategic? So you got to that point, you're like, okay, hang on a minute. I'm hearing all these things. Strategic must mean how do we get there from where we are now?
Yeah.
Then you join B2B Breakthrough Academy because you're like, I remember you were like, I'm hungry. I want to know how to actually make this now.
Yeah.
I don't actually remember our first interaction. I'll have to go through my emails, but I'm sure that you were just like, oh, it's great to follow you. Was it TikTok you found me on? I can't remember.
Yeah, I remember being really, really creepy.
You were
And I
creepy.
messaged you on TikTok being like, everything you're saying is, I feel like literally, I don't know, like it was meant to be. Like I needed to come across your page,
Oh,
and all the videos that you were posting, I was like, oh my God, that's what's happening with me at the moment, and that's how I feel, but I don't know where to start. And again, I did a CIM professional diploma, and so I felt like I was doing all these courses and everything that I needed to do to equip me with how a marketer thinks and does things. But I still felt that missing piece. And every time I was coming across your videos, I was like, oh my God, this is where I need to watch more of these videos. And then I reached out to you because obviously the accent, I was like, she's Welsh, like me.
and we just so
So
happens
I,
we live 4 miles away from each other.
yeah, it's so weird. And then it kind of went from there.
Yeah, I love that. And
So
that is something people say a lot. This is why I exist. Like, I felt that when I was a marketing manager and head of marketing. Why can't I do this? I've done my CIM. I've had all this experience. What is it that's not coming together? And I do think that is what was missing was this thing to bring everything together. You know what customer personas are. You know what objectives are roughly. Not sure if you're using the right approach. You know how to put together a campaign. You are a clever marketer, but you're just like, how do I put it all together? Do you remember? I always get feedback from people that the feeling of being in that first Zoom call with the group of others, a couple of people have cried in the past because we don't realize how emotional actually this job can be, particularly if you feel alone in it.
100%.
Do you remember that process of feeling like, okay, I found my people, we're together, we're working through these templates, we've got the video training?
Yeah, no, it did. It felt amazing because in my role, I felt quite lonely. I didn't really know many marketers. I'd speak to friends, I'd speak to family, and of course, they'd be supportive and they're encouraging me to keep going on and keep learning and all these different things. But it can be really hard to people to really truly understand what you're going through unless you're in it. When I joined the academy and I met all of these like minded people, I was blown away and how they were all saying similar things to me and were thinking the same as me. But then it makes you feel less alone and yeah, you kind of like, oh, right, okay, this has put me at ease a little bit. Yeah, like, wow. It was really lovely to meet people who were similar to me, but also working in different industries and learning about how they market their business because you're so stuck in that mindset of the organization that you work for that you forget about these other
Yeah.
industries and these other roles. And so it was really interesting from that perspective. But another really important thing I want to mention is that it inspired me to start my own community group. Being part of that academy and obviously being based in Wales, I continued that community feel, not just through B2B Breakthrough, but through local as well, because it is so important. And it is really, I believe, what has made me the marketer that I am today. And not just the skills I learned through B2B Breakthrough, but through that community piece as well. That is so important.
Oh, yeah. And I loved you for creating club marketing, and I've linked more info in the show notes if anyone wants to have a little look at what Lauren's been doing, because I was really missing being in person with people as well, because you've got your online events, but being in person with people was just so lovely. It was so funny when on the first call that we had, where there was like 40 of you all in the same boat. And it was just really funny because I'd been coaching loads of you individually, and then we bring them all together, and 40 people basically say the same thing. Oh, hi, really struggling because my leadership won't listen to me when I say we need to be more strategic. And I was like, I'm so glad you guys get to see that it's not just you, because I do think the
Yeah.
companies we're in, they make us think it's us, and they're like, oh, you don't understand, it's different in our industry. And so I would love to know, what else do you think in terms of the shift that happened when it came to actually writing your first marketing strategy? Walk us through how that looked. We did it in 6 weeks, didn't we? Without AI. The new cohort I'm launching in April, though, it was AI powered. I've got all the prompts and everything. It's all completely different now. We did it in 6 weeks without AI.
Yeah.
Walk me through what that was like.
Building our strategy, I found really interesting because I really enjoy the research side of things, and I'm quite a nosy person. If there's any way I can do a bit of social listening and nose around what people are up to, I love it. I found very interesting. What I loved most about the course as well was the audit side of things. Because again, I'm a jumper. I'll go straight into, right, okay, we're going to build our strategy now. We're going to start from day one and go from there. But it's so important to just look back and
Yes.
see what's been working really well, because you don't want to stop doing that. But how do we elevate it? How do we improve it? How do we streamline it? And how do we embed AI into it and make our lives easier as marketers? So auditing what you've been doing helps us find the gaps. I did really enjoy that bit. But
You're
when
probably
I was building
possibly
it,
the only person who's ever taken the B2B Breakthrough Academy who's like, I love the marketing review. Most people are like, oh, I'm so glad that's done. And it's not hard in the same way that, like, the reason I built it the way it was, I don't know if you remember this, but it's not hard in the sense of like, oh, this is impossible. Why am I doing this? It's hard because you've just got to get some information out of the business, and that can be challenging, isn't it? What I
yeah.
love about that module is everyone's like, I understand why I'm putting this in my review. Not
Mm.
like, why am I doing this weird model thing? And it's all intentional. And then obviously we went into setting marketing objectives, which this cohort, we're going to be powered by AI. So I'll be helping them to write their objectives and making sure they've
I
got
love
that
that.
power. Yeah, it'll be so fun. Now, I can't promise that Jade AI will be fully launched and built by the time the April cohort comes, but she's in the making. But all of the prompts and everything, that's all going to be there to
I
help
love it.
build.
It's
Because
so
can you
cool.
imagine if you'd built it in 6 weeks with AI? That would have been
Oh,
so easy, wouldn't it? Just goes to
would have
show.
been so much easier. So much
Yes.
easier.
But
Yeah,
you did it the organic way. We've
I
really earned
did.
the stripes. I love it.
I really did.
And so, obviously, and this is what's quite funny, and I don't mind people having a peek into my business in this way, but I remember when the TikTok was growing and people kept saying, you're talking about strategy all the time. And I really need help. Do you have templates? Do you have templates? And I was just like, no, don't make me make templates. No. But I was like, okay, there was so much request. I had to build a course because part of becoming strategic is knowing how to build it. So then, as
Mm.
such, the template structure and all the videos and all the trainings that you saw was so practical. And so here's the quickest way to get from A to B. Let's do this properly. But I know that it isn't just templates. It's the mind strategy work as well, isn't it? Because you can't just make a strategy and then just email it to your leaders. I mean, was in terms
No,
of your shift into becoming a strategic marketer, what outside of building your actual plan do you think was important?
I would say definitely patience. I'm a very, as a person, what's the word I'm looking for? I need something done quick. If I set my mind to something, I'm like, right, okay, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it, and I'm going
Yes,
to do it
I'm like
100
that.
mile per hour. And to be strategic, you need to be patient. It's a slow burner. It's not something you just wake up overnight and you're a strategic marketer. You need to embed it into your everyday. You need to continue learning and evolving and shaping your mindset to be more strategic.
The mind strategy stuff is so much more important than people realize, because that is how
Mm.
you deal with aggressive salespeople or someone who's like, where's the leads? If you've got that strategy behind you, so I am a strategic marketer, I know how this works. And you're also able to couple that with really great communication skills where you can deal with things head on. Because I used to
Yeah,
be more like, oh, well, like the thing is, if we do that, then maybe this. And actually, I needed to be more like, I'm so interested that you asked me that. Could I ask about what you were expecting from this campaign so we can find out where this gap is? And that's the
yeah,
stuff I tried to pass on to you guys, because I was like, it's not just about being able to write a plan. Because that's why I used to get
Yeah.
frustrated with the TikTok. I'm going to take my jumper off because I'm boiling. I'm going to turn my heating off. Just, the heating's just being, the
I
heating
know
got
mine
thrown up and I'm literally boiling.
mine jumps on and off all the time. I don't know how
I
it
just realised
works.
how hot I was. So yeah, it's I can't remember what I was saying now. Can you remember what I was saying?
Yeah, so like holding your own basically
Yeah,
against
so
leadership.
like you've got a plan. Yeah, on TikTok, people are like, I want 10. I'd be like, but it's not going to fix it. That's not going to fix
Mm.
it. But I was like, but you do actually need it, but it's only one component part. And so I'm just so glad that you made that breakthrough. And I would love to just hear a bit before we dive into your business and how that came about
Mhm.
to finish up. I remember seeing your strategy, it was so good. And you were, of course, the winner of our cohort out of
Yeah.
45 applications. You won. And
Yeah.
that's I loved reading it. It was beautifully presented, so professional, just so great, which is why I'm excited that you're helping others now.
Yeah.
Talk to me about what changed for you then. We talked about your day-to-day life in the beginning. It was like frazzled,
Mhm.
overwhelmed, task wheel, not quite sure what strategy meant. How did things change for you in terms of results and how work felt?
Yeah, I would say I was taken more seriously, which makes a huge difference in your role as a marketer. I felt more valued and people were buying into it. And I presented it to the Exco board because to build a successful strategy, you have to ensure that everyone's on the same page, everyone gets what it is that we're trying to achieve as a collective. It's not a marketing versus the rest of the company. It is a group thing, it's a team effort. Getting them to understand how we got to this place is so important. So obviously presented to the board and really getting them to be like, wow, okay, I didn't think of it like that before. That makes sense actually. And okay, so you got from there to there because you actually used the data and you were conducting actual customer calls and asking them for real life feedback. And oh, okay, you've worked with finance to actually understand our growth targets and where it is that we're trying to get to as an organization. Once that dialed in, my life then became easier, which allowed me to be a better marketer because I
Mm.
was no longer overwhelmed with almost justifying my existence as a marketer because you feel on edge. And I know that I'm lucky and fortunate. I would never have been made redundant or let go because they looked after me and they valued me. But
Yeah.
you do feel this need to justify, like, oh, I need to make sure that they're getting their money's worth out of me and my salary. And you're like just literally firing off blind. When I built that strategy and doing that strategy day and getting everyone to buy into it, I felt really proud of myself to be able to be in that position to do that. And then everything just started moving in the right direction. Don't get me wrong, it wasn't an instant flick a switch and everyone was like, cool, okay, we're never going to ask you to do a flyer again and we're never going to, because
Yeah.
of course it's a mindset shift, it's change, it takes time. But people started to think more strategically in the business around marketing's role, and that to me was the biggest accomplishment for me personally, was that instead of it being firing things off of marketing, there was a brief that was, we had brief templates, send us the brief, what is it? People started thinking more strategically as a whole instead of it just being marketing's responsibility to think like that.
That's awesome. I remember you emailing me feedback. It was amazing. It's gone so well. They've really understood the strategy, and that's because it's all built in business language, not marketing jargon. I don't know if you do you remember Jennifer in our group?
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
she was so great. Well, I had an email off her CEO after literally a week of building the program. And I don't know if you experienced this, but her CEO was like, I already see an impact because she's asking me questions we've never been asked before and they're relevant. And I thought, that's huge because your
Yeah.
leaders, that it's not a mistake, coincidence rather, that they bought in when you presented because you'd taken them along the journey with you.
Mm-hmm. We had multiple meetings and conversations around marketing and the role prior to the strategy being presented. And it was always quite hard. We were deemed as that almost graphic design function, I would
Yeah.
say. And I'm not a graphic designer. Yeah, I know the basics, but that's not my strength. And it changed because then they were, even like, we used a freelance at the time, and even they then started to be like, oh, can you ask so and so that we need help with this design project because they started already
Mm,
knowing that actually that's not Lauren. Lauren doesn't do that. That's someone else who Lauren uses as part of that resource
that's
mix.
so
And
good.
so that started shifting. Small wins to begin with, but they made such a difference to my role there.
And did you see like projects signed off?
Yeah,
Saw some
yeah.
projects signed off. You got more budget. The team grew. Did the team grow?
But yeah, so
Yeah.
we managed to grow the team. We doubled the team in size.
Wow.
We did a whole brand positioning piece, was so fundamental for us because we're talking about where we want to go and what we hope to achieve, but we didn't really know exactly who we were
Yeah.
and why people should choose us over somebody who offers something pretty much exactly the same. What was our core differentiators? And again, we go down that we were using terminology like, oh, we're data driven, we're experts, we're this. Well, that's a given. That's not a differentiator. That's something every business should be doing naturally. What was our core differentiator? It got us thinking, and the business owners thinking, oh, okay, yeah, actually, that makes sense. Yeah, what does make us different? Yeah, that project was really important for us. And when that got signed off and yeah, we had the additional budget for it, I was so excited. And growing the team as well, that was such an accomplishment.
The brand positioning piece, I just want to make a quick point here. People sometimes see it as like a fluffy peripheral thing, but until you have
Mm,
that, your marketing isn't really going anywhere because you have to
no.
be able to clearly say, here's why you should choose us, not the others, in line with the problem you're
Hmm.
facing. Once you know that, your campaigns are so easy. You're like, oh, that pain
Yeah.
point for that customer. Yeah, roll out, roll out, roll out. And you know that now. And it's such a joy listening to you talking about it because I'm like, gosh, she just gets it. The transformation is
Yeah.
unbelievable. But I was always very excited when I first met you. I thought she's going to be awesome. I want to dive quickly now
Oh,
into
thank you.
you are so awesome. So then, just to inspire everyone watching, because there are a lot of people and listening who are like, oh, one day I want to set up my own marketing company. And I often toy around with doing like a mini course around how to become a B2B marketing consultant if you want to leave the role. So tell me what happened. It's so exciting. You're now off the back of becoming a strategic marketer. You now run a company. Tell us about the company and where people can find you before we say goodbye.
Yeah, amazing. So I'm the CEO of a company called Marketing Collab, and it was born out of our community at Club Marketing and meeting so many talented marketers, both in-house and freelancers, who were undervalued. They weren't appreciated for the amazing work that they were doing. And for me, I felt this burning desire to help them. I was like, how can I help these people? And this research of talking to marketers and also talking to business owners, I identified that gap. So, Marketing Collab is a collective of experienced independent marketers who have been vetted but are fantastic at what they do. And as a team, we embed ourselves into organizations and we support whether they have an in-house marketer to begin with or they don't have marketing at all, and we support them with their marketing strategy and supporting them in implementing that activity plan and getting things moving in the right direction. So that
So
is what
instead of
Marketing
building
Club
this
is.
big team, you can work with Lauren. She can get you going. Um, right.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And so are you happy with where you've arrived? I bet it's your dream. I know it's hard running your own business, but it's like a
Mm.
dream come true, isn't it? Your brand is so beautiful,
Oh,
and it
thank
just
you.
looks so great. And I just think, God, what an amazing transformation
Yeah.
in such a
It
short
was
time.
so it was so amazing to just take that leap. But there was a lot of research that went behind the scenes and building club marketing, which again is a free community. We never charged for it. Through meeting all of these people along the way, we knew that there was something missing within the market. It's just been amazing. And somebody who had massive imposter syndrome, I was suffering really badly with my anxiety and OCD as well. There's been a lot that's happened over the last 2 years. And now I'm in a position where I work for myself. I work with talented marketers every single day. I work with organizations who are thriving and are absolutely loving the journey that they're now on. And I've never felt more fulfilled. And I love where I am in my life at the moment. I don't want this to sound cringy, but if I hadn't come across your videos, Jade, and I hadn't done that course, who knows where I would have been? You
Oh,
know, you just don't know. And everything in life happens for a reason. I'm a firm believer in that. And I'm just so glad that I came across your page when I did.
Oh, and that's so kind of you to say. But what I will say is you're the type of person who you would have sorted it out. You know what I mean? And also when you said you were being stalkery, that was not stalkery. One of my closest allies now who I work with, she literally stopped me at Roath Lake and was like, "Are you B2B Jade?" And I was like, "Okay, let's be friends." And that was it. That's how we made friends. So it's all good. But yeah, couldn't be happier for you. I've linked in the show notes. If you guys happen to be in Wales, come in person. Lauren's
Yeah,
mum makes the buffet and it is does she still do them?
absolutely she
I
does.
took home a Tupperware. She's like, take a box with you. I took a Tupperware full of all these amazing, I can't even put my finger on what they were, picky bits. But imagine
Yeah,
like M&S picky bits, but even better and homemade and quirky. Oh, it was the best. If you're in Wales and you can get there in person, great. If not, Club Marketing do hold online stuff as well. So you can have a look in the show notes
yeah,
and obviously
yeah.
explore Marketing Collab as well. All that's left to say is thank you so much, Lauren. Wicked to see you again. So see you
Yeah,
soon.
thank you so much.
Oh my gosh, how amazing is Lauren? I'm literally in love with her. It's so funny because when I created B2B Breakthrough Academy, I literally had her as a persona in mind. I was like, she is held back. She's talented. She's got it all going on. She just needs everything pieced together. And so I'm so excited that you got to hear from her today. And if you can relate to anything Lauren said, I hope it's given you a deep sense of purpose, of connection, and of comfort, because that is what it's all about inside the B2B Breakthrough Academy. We're all about being together, supporting each other. We're in it together. So if you want to get started becoming a more strategic marketer like Lauren, the best thing I can suggest is that you join me on the 26th of March. It's a Thursday, and that is going to be like the day one. It's a completely free class. I'm going to set you on your journey for the things you need to do to become like Lauren. I've linked in the show notes the link for you to join, or just head to b2bj.com/links and it's right there. That's then going to lead into, I'll be opening the doors for B2B Breakthrough Academy in April for our next cohort round. The doors have been closed for quite a while, just while I get things tidied up. We are modernizing it. We are changing it. We're going to do it quicker this time. It's usually a 12-week program. We're going to do it quicker, powered by AI. So you get me, you get AI, you get everything. And you're going to be more like Lauren before you know it. Let me know if you are joining us on the 26th of March. Really excited to have you here. And thank you so much for listening to the B2B Marketing App podcast. And I will see you next week.